Hi, I am Monica Brandt, one of the world's first true fitness pioneers starting back in 1991. I helped launch the fitness industry while traveling internationally, meeting fans worldwide to share my style of fitness to the bodybuilding community. After a decade of fitness competitions, I earned one of the world's most prestigious titles, the IFBB Fitness Olympia Championships. Moving into the new millennium, I was the first IFBB Fitness Olympia athlete to transition into the new professional figure division and compete for close to another 20 years. After 15 years as an IFBB professional, I tried another organization and won the WBFF World Pro Figure Championships both 2010 and 2013. I am a true athlete and made my way into racing into the Masters USATF sprint events, placing top 3 at the World's Masters track meet in all 3 events, the 100, 200, and 400 meter races. Besides athletics, I have been honored with over 100 magazine covers both nationally and internationally. Since it's always a blessing to share with others, over the last 15 years, I've hosted women's fitness events and worked with clients, helping them discover how to live radiantly in all areas of life, body, mind, soul, and spirit. The Monica Brandt Show is one of the ways I am honoring the legendary athletes, powerhouse individuals, and nutrition gurus that have laid a strong foundation in the past, help keep the current industry flowing, and offer inspiration to the next generations.
Super excited about tonight. I have some very special guests, and I specifically asked this powerhouse couple to come on the show tonight because Valentine's is just right around the corner. So I wanted to highlight this couple, not only for all that they've done in the industry, but also for who they are as a married couple. And of course, we've got Valentine's right around the corner. So why not have a little inspiration for our relationships and encouraging love? So without any further ado, these are the IFBB superstars. They are NPC National Qualifier show promoters. They are cover models. They are very successful entrepreneurs individually and together. A loving example of what God has created marriage to be. Please help me welcome my very special guests tonight, Steve and Amanda Kuclo. Yay!
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
What an intro.
Yay! That's it. I'm so excited to have you guys in. Thank you for joining. You're up in Dallas, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're neighbors in a way. People don't realize how big Texas is until you drive it.
Yes, exactly. I know. Well, I'm super fond of Texas, and especially right now with all that's going on in the world, it's nice to feel like you're in a safer state, right smack in the middle of the country.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, how have you guys been with the 2020 crazy year going into 2021? How has it been for you guys personally and professionally?
I mean, I'll leave that one on. Well, I think it's been crazy for everyone, but at the same time, I think that, I always preach this on my Instagram, this girl, you always grow through storms. So I think that you can, mindset is when you're faced with a challenge, how are you going to adapt from that? How are you going to grow from that? So at first, for us, when we got married, we actually got married very quickly. We met and got married very quickly. We just had an anniversary. We got married within weeks of meeting. So we never had really a time to be off from being on. So we started traveling. We literally traveled, I think, right before the year before, where we were literally traveling every weekend. So when COVID hit, it was the first time that we were actually able to unpack our suitcases, enjoy our home, which is why we're actually up in the yoga room, we're getting home renovation. It's like our haven. So it feels like for us a vacation, but at the same time, it was allowed us to almost restructure and reprioritize the multiple things that we had on our plate. And kind of, I'm one of those people that really believes that do a few things with excellence instead of like 20 things just because they're thrown at you. And because that way you can get very easily burned out. And so I think for us, we really just sat back. Steven was in a different place even with competing. We had a store in the mall that we just came from, and it's actually closed. So it was a lot of restructuring. But at the same time, I feel that during those times, as our pastor says, you actually get stronger during times of any hardships.
Right.
So for us, we don't really argue, but we need those things outside conflicts to make us grow stronger as a couple.
So I think 2020, we really, the downtime, I think quarantine, we really enjoyed, if that makes sense. Like we spent a lot of time together. We enjoyed our pool. It was during the summer. Like we really enjoyed it. We weren't traveling, which was kind of rare because we travel like 2 to 3 weekends every month. So to be home was kind of nice. Actually, like she always says, like we actually were able to unpack her suitcase for the first time in a long time. So, home projects, doing stuff like that. Competing for myself was a little bit on the back burner just because I didn't know what was going to be, happen with shows. I felt like shows were being canceled. And the last thing you'd want to do, and you know this, Monica, is go through, 10 weeks of a prep and then 2 weeks before show get the notification saying, hey, show's canceled. That would be horrible. So I just said, let's ride 2020 out and make 2021 a big splash.
Oh, I love it. I totally understand. I came from all the traveling in my past, and my husband is involved in a horse training business. So he's gone for horse shows, and I go with him a lot because I'm able to help with all that. But I totally understand when 2020 lockdown happened, I was kind of like, ooh, that's kind of fun. We're going to be home together. Although my husband and I both, but he's dove into putting a talk show together for his business, who Kona, our show producer here, actually is partnered with him and his co-host, and they've done, I don't know, almost close to 200 shows since spring of last year. So I kind of said, once y'all get the talk show thing figured out, maybe I'll come in and do one. And so that's where mine started at the end of April. And, for me, it really was just about diving into getting to talk to the people that I've known and haven't been able to talk to in so long. So it's been really kind of the same thing over for us here as well, is just reconnecting with one another. And that sounds so nice that you guys said, because there's so many different ways you can go with this, like, oh no, scared or, kind of falling apart. And a lot of people fell apart instead of taking on the positives. And I love that you guys took the positives out of it and just spent that time connecting.
I'm not going to say it was hard at times, more so for me, and that's why when you go back into relationships, for me, it actually got me. I've been saved my entire life, but it really allowed me to seek God by myself because I was really dependent on God to help me through things. And I'm the same way with you, girl. It's right now, I almost felt like I was a butterfly in a cocoon, and I came out, and I really just I actually feel like I found my purpose, which was going through the things that I go through to be able to share them to help other people. And as crazy as you would think, I've been on stage forever and sing. Something about me actually speaking and doing those videos was really super hard for me. So I had to write everything down. I had to look, how am I going to restructure this? How am I going to use the things that I'm personally experiencing that God's helping me get through? How am I going to actually share them? Because I feel like other people are feeling the same way. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you don't go through things. And I think, my platform is always about positivity, encouragement. I'm an exhorter, in what we do. But it's also about sharing those things from a genuine place of actually being able to help someone. Because if you don't experience those things, how can I say, well, I know what it's like to feel fearful during this time, but I got over it. And he was a very big strength for me. Steven is strong and stable as can be. That's why God put us together. And he is just, I think, like I said, firefighter for 10 years. I'm like the fire, and he like puts out the water. I'm like, I just thought of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, here I come in like a cyclone. I'm like, bah. But that's what makes us even get that stronger together, because that's where we balance each other out. He's the one that if that fear did come, he's so strong and stable. He's like, all right, let's see the best of this. And doesn't mean you're not going to feel afraid. It just means that you don't back give into that fear.
I love it. That's awesome. I mean, that's what James 1 is all about, is, facing our trials and tribulations and rejoicing in them. And like, sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, but then that provides, that's why God says it provides the best outcome for us walking through those things.
And there was a lot of uncertainty, I think, too, that I think was the hardest in career-wise, is because here we have this store and we may open it or may not. We also had the competing was very up. We didn't even know if the Olympia was going to happen or not. After the Arnold, which was Steven's last show, both of us said something's going to happen and the Arnold Australia might not happen. And people went over there and they actually got stuck there. So we kind of went off of what our intuition was and we prayed about everything. Yeah. And then we also have our bodybuilding show, and we had to change that date because we didn't want someone, like we said, them to be competing and all of a sudden it'd be ripped from them. So I think that was a challenging for business stuff to. Yeah,
there's a lot of pivoting and a lot of uncertainty, and I think that's where we leaned on our faith and kind of took a lot of times took a step back, and during that time, like I think we really grew closer, which I think a lot of people sometimes say like. Spending too much time together is not good, but we really disconnected from a lot of like the world. I think if you're always on the go and super busy, I think there's a tendency of people to neglect, things of spending time with your loved ones. And, we grew not only together as a couple, but our, relationships, friendships, new friendships merged this year that were, like we feel like we've had a whole life with these people. So it's a lot of great things come from it. And we really focus on the positive more than the negative and just learn from the negative. But, and that's
especially with actually speaking with the competing, this was the first birthday since we've been married but in longer than that he's actually able to celebrate. So it was
like 15 years because I'm always dieting during the summer with my birthday.
Right.
So, that. You got Olympia in September and
yeah.
So we literally it's true. Like we've had closer connections with our friends because like, well, we can't go out anywhere, but we do. So you have people over, and man, we were just at a Super Bowl party the other day, and I'm like 15, 20 people that I literally met during this time. So it was that right there was so great because I'm the person that'll be like work from home, work, but hermit crab, and then it's like now we got all these amazing friends that it's just that you've introduced me to in the great car community. and so that was really cool. We actually had to have a birthday for the first time, which was pretty freaking.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Where's family for both of you?
Now my family's here. My mom just moved here.
Awesome.
My brother's in Las Vegas.
Yeah, my parents. I got family kind of spread out. I got my parents are in Michigan. I have a couple of my cousins in California. So we're kind of spread out.
I'm trying to get everyone here.
So the goal is to get everybody.
I don't blame you.
I mean, as you know, Texas is kind of our little sanctuary state in the United States. So.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay. So I want to go back into kind of each of your individual pasts because you both have very decorated past. And, Amanda, you and I met in Vegas, and I like this. I want to just share my thought on it and then I want you to tell me yours because I remember in my mind, I remember being there. I was with my ex-husband, and we had gone to Mandalay Bay. It might have been after the Olympia, or it was after another show that I had been there working. I can't remember exactly, but we were there by ourselves. And you were there at the Mandalay Bay, and we came in to eat there, and we sat at the bar, and you and your band were playing, and we were so amazed at your voice and your entertainment, and we were having like the best time. We were like, this is the best couple hours we've had in Vegas the whole time we've been in Vegas because we both love music and the entertainment and watching, live performance. And I remember sitting at the bar, and I think I met your brother.
Okay.
We started talking. I believe your brother was there, and then I think your mom was there, and we started just kind of chit-chatting. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, this is my sister up on stage," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And so we didn't have any, we were just kind of like, I'm really close to my big brother. So I thought that was so cool that your brother's there, your mom's there. And then I think you took a break and you came over and you were like, oh my gosh, Monica Brandt. And right. Then you had known who I was. So it was just this really special moment that I remember just admiring what you did and you on stage, and my husband loved music. Like we were just so in admiration of your performance and your voice. And, of course you looked good. So there's no doubt about that. And then of course I had noticed how, defined your shoulders and arms were, and it was just really cool. And then, you ended up coming into your own in the IFBB and the whole industry and making such a big name for yourself there. So maybe kind of go back to, how did you, because I read some things, but it'd be fun to hear from you, how you got into singing and, what that looked like before you got into IFBB.
So that's, I know exactly. And so that had to have been 2007 or 8. Because I'm thinking, that was either because I remember when I was staying at Mandalay Bay, probably either 6, 7, or 8. Was when
it was one of those. It was probably 7, maybe.
Probably 7, yes. And backstory, I started singing professionally when I was 18. I actually just wrote a post about this a couple days ago. I talked about I thought I wanted to be a singer. It's what I done. I came from Orlando. They were doing the Orlando, they were doing a girl group, boy group, and I was in a girl group. I moved over in Germany and stayed there for a while. Then I had 2 solo deals after that. It actually was hand signed by Clive Davis. There's a post on this Instagram. It's actually, I won't go into it, but
okay. I'll send people back there.
Oh yeah, send the Instagram, and it's one I'm in a car. I share my whole story, but it talks about how at the time I thought that I wanted to be in the music industry. But from that, I fell in love with fitness about 18 years old. And it's great because it kept me I feel at that age, a lot of girls could develop eating disorders. And I knew that I needed to eat in order to gain weight. I was overseas, and I just was like pretty much teaching myself about fitness. I walked into a gym, I saw this woman with a 6-pack, and I was like, that's what I want to look like. So I just fell in love. But during the touring and I was off and on. I was always very all or nothing. So I was either 6 days, 7 days a week, or not at all. And when I turned, it was 23, I started competing and moved to I won my first competition after 6 months, and then I won another different organization. But when the Flex model search happened was 2007. Yes, 2007. And then I did 2008 and I won 2009. So it was literally right when I met you.
Right.
So that's when and my brother was the one who encouraged me. He said, look, you're working. And I was working so much that I really didn't have any time to pursue any fitness stuff. Well, they kept on giving me off for work. And then finally, when they stopped giving me off to do any competitions, I was like, okay, it's time to leave this job. But anyway, it was fusing my love for stage and my love for fitness, which turned into the division that is still the bikini division.
Right.
We were like the pioneers for the sport. I really just went on with no routine. It was literally whatever song was on, I just went on and had fun. And it's great because that's literally when I met you. You were my inspiration. So when I heard Monica Brandt's out there and you're liking me for my voice, I'm sitting going, I'm getting into this stuff because of you, my friend. Like I used the VHS, like when they did fitness back on like ESPN, like VHS. Like I probably still have those tapes, but that motivated me. I was like, oh my God. So you were who I looked up to. So you were seeing me as a singer and I was looking at you as like, it's bad. Yeah, it was awesome. It's badass.
Awesome. That's so fun. Well, thank you for the honor and thank you for sharing. That's so fun. And
awesome.
I just remember your voice was just, and I'm sure it still is beautiful. Steve, does she sing to you?
Oh yeah, especially when she's in the shower right here or something. So I actually really enjoy her voice, and that is awesome.
Well, I'm glad you made it over to the fitness bikini and industry.
Yes.
You say fitness, and then I'm always like, well, no, it wasn't fitness, it was bikini. But anyways, I guess the general term is fitness. So I'm glad you made it over to the fitness world because I know you've helped establish the industry as well and pave the way for other women to come in and do what you've been inspiring them to do. So, and it's awesome. Yeah. So Steve, let's hear. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I loved that it was something I was able to do. It was so, that sport was growing and no one really even knew what, it just allowed it to just more mainstream. The more people got to know about it, more people got to do it. And I was so honored that I was able to do something. People were like, how are you in the music business for fitness? And I was like, I just love it. But honestly, those doors had to close. And I was like, regardless, I had to be where I'm at to meet Steven. But I'm very fortunate to actually close on the music industry. It's just not something I'm fully would want to be a part of, personally.
Well, I think you're in a great place now, and and you just always appear like you're just having, such a wonderful opportunity in life, and it's fun to see you share that with others too. And that's again why, I asked you guys to come on, because I loved your enthusiasm for what you do and for each other. And of course, this is the week of Valentine's, so I want to share more about that. But so Steve, can you dive in a little bit to your background in sports? Because I read something about Hall of Fame in hockey. I'm like, what? Are you from Canada?
Yeah, I was the guy, the kid growing up that just, my parents put me in sports. I love sports. Hockey was my sport growing up. I started at a young age and, played in like the elite leagues and stuff. And I grew up in Detroit, which is right next to Canada. So, I spent a lot of time in Canada playing, and anybody knows or follows hockey understands it. Canada is a breeding ground for some of the best players in the world and some of the best, teams. So that was really what got kind of my athletic ability started and realized for myself. So to touch on the Hall of Fame aspect, I had one of the teams I played for. They have this big international tournament. So it always boils down like U.S. versus Canada. And every year, whoever wins that, there's a stick. It's called a silver stick. Gets your name of the team and all the players engraved on it and gets put in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So our team won it one year, which put me in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
That's right.
And then
Cool.
we had so many titles. We had state titles, national titles. We were such an amazing team. And a couple of guys I actually played with are in the NHL right now. So it's kind of cool to see them, pursue that route. And I feel like I could have gone that route as well.
Yes, you could have.
But Amanda pulled you into the IFBB.
Yeah, but so
she was praying you in.
I was praying in.
Right. So for me, that really led into what bodybuilding. I love training. I love being kind of the elite version of myself. Wanted to be the strongest guy no matter what I did. So I love training. And then I went to a few bodybuilding shows, picked up a few magazines, a couple of muscle mags that I saw Monica Brand on, those kind of things. Yeah. I think you were on about every cover of Muscle Mag back in the day. So, that really grew my passion for wanting to compete. I did a show, as anybody knows, usually you do one show and you're hooked. So I did that, and then it just kind of took off. A lot of people were like, you need to do this on a higher level. Went to team nationals, won team nationals. And then I turned pro at 25, won the Mr. USA, and then had become a 5-time pro champ. And, the goal is to win an Arnold title or Olympia title. So that's kind of where I'm at in my career now.
Well, you won an Arnold title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Arnold Brazil title. I want to win the Arnold Ohio title. That's going to be my goal.
Your next goal. Okay. Well, that's pretty amazing. You've got one in there and you're on your way to the next. Have you guys already kind of set your eyes on this next Arnold coming up, or is we still unsure about it?
Well, we're kind of waiting to hear a for sure date. They threw around a few dates that they're looking at moving it because they don't want to have it too early in the year. So we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. I've heard rumor Olympia is going to be later in the year again. So just kind of waiting for some dates to be solidified, and then we put a game plan together to go kick some butt.
We really thought it was going to be March. So when we saw the Olympia was December last year, we're like, we're not doing December, March. You can't do that. So then we found out, well, then they're not doing it in March. So we're like, oh, crap. So we're just kind of waiting. Just waiting again, just waiting.
Yeah. So are they talking about moving the Arnold like months down the road?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So right now I've heard there was a rumor June, and then they're talking about September. So we're just kind of waiting to hear.
Okay. Well, if they move to summertime, or would you be able to get ready for that, or want to get ready for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I usually don't stay far off. I kind of stay within probably about an 8-week striking distance for myself. So that way, something's got to come up, or we got to pivot into something. I can get on my game plan and dial things in.
That's exciting. Well, I hope that they get a date for you so you guys can start planning for that, because I know you want to get that scheduled. And that's another big milestone. Just to get on the stage itself, the Arnold stage, and be invited. They're still doing invitation only?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I want to talk about how you guys met, because Amanda, you said you guys met and got married super quick. So I would love to hear how you guys met and, what drew you all together other than bodybuilding.
It's real.
Well, other than seeing her on being a fan from afar, I don't know if she was like the firecracker that.
Okay, well, tell me, where were you when you first met? Where were you?
Olympia, 2014.
Olympia, 2014.
We actually met at Olympia, and I was like, that was I did Olympia 2000 since 2000 and what was the first one? 2010, first Olympia. So for me, I was like the last one competing of the firsts. Like I was like, I'm in this thing. It's the 50th anniversary. And I had done it for so long. I started in 2003, took some time off when I had my record deal. But for me, it was like 11 years now of competing at this point where I was just like, I thought I was going to be a TV host. So I was like, I'm going to move to LA. But I in my heart, I said, this is going to be my last Olympia. So it was like, unless I get top 3, I wanted top 3. And I got 5th that year. So I was like, okay, this is going to be it. And I'm just going to go and pat, this is my sign. I'm going to be done. And so then we were at Meet the Olympians, and I see this vision, the crowd parts, and I just see these red pants and black. And I just remember saying, you look amazing. And then I remember my mom was there, who had always known was ever good enough for me. And I said, Mom, be nice to this one. He's a nice guy. I didn't even know. But that was not how we said it's God. It was literally meant to be.
It's one of those things, we knew of each other, but we didn't know each other.
Never met.
And
with the same coach.
We actually met.
He was being coached by 𝗍𝗍. I was being coached by 𝗍𝗍. I was in Sacramento Pro when he was guest competing. The year he turned pro and won the overall was at the USA's. My job was interviewing for Flex Magazine every winner, yet for some reason, I missed the winner of the overall. Like, how the freak did that happen? It's because it was the right person, the wrong timing. So literally, it was like, we never met this entire thing. And then it was like, boom. And then it was like instant.
Yeah.
He slid into my Facebook DM.
Yeah.
Who does the checks those?
Right.
For you.
Yeah. So I to kind of just elaborate on that a little bit. So after we met at the Olympia, I kind of had a bonehead diner move where I didn't get her phone number, which was kind of,
I probably wouldn't
kind of important to be like, how am I going to get a hold of her? So I didn't want to ask anybody for a number, so I sent her a Facebook message. Out of all things, I was like, how can I get a hold of her? And I sent a Facebook message. So she responded. We talked for, I'd say maybe a week or two. And I was like, listen, this is amazing. Things just feel really right. And then I said, well, I'm going to come out for like a lunch date. There's nothing like, I just want to.
I was like, yeah, right, whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to fly in the morning, fly out at night. Like, I just want to meet you.
What's the catch? You might have to pay your way. I was jaded. Monica, I was jaded.
So we had an amazing lunch date. We knew, like.
We almost got married that first day.
We actually looked at each other and we were like, we would get married.
I know.
And like, not out of a weirdo
like,
factor.
We're just like, we would get married.
Or you're like, wow, like, she's like, no way, or that's a little bit intense. Like, we were both like, wow. Like, we were definitely ready for it, and that's when we just listened to our heart, followed our, however you want to say it. We knew.
We just knew.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun. So how long after that special lunch date did you guys actually get married?
It was
6 hours. No.
6 hours.
About 8 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was not very long, and we it was just right.
It was right.
I love it. Okay, I love it.
It's freaking awesome. Actually, I didn't even. Yeah, it's like we got married. We get to experience everything as a husband and wife, which is pretty freaking cool. And we still are. So it's it was great. I mean, because both of us had faith, but it's really when we got together, it's like God was like, I'm taking you next level. And it's really when you talk about agreement. It was like we each had a successful career in our own, but when we got together, it was like that unity really took us next level.
I just love that. That is so special.
There were no hyphenates. I was like, Latona is on my Instagram, but my Kuclo is my name. I think as if I leave my verification at this point if you change it or something. But I mean, it was within a week. Driver's license, social security card, everything changed. I was just like, I'm Kuclo.
More on the old-fashioned style of it,
That's awesome. I love it. Okay, so I'm sure you've heard the verse. It's better to get married than burn with passion.
Of course.
That's probably what happened, right? I mean,
right?
Oh, no. I don't want that one. No, that Yeah.
As a Christian, and I'm remarried, and my husband and I laugh about that. We laughed about that verse because we were like, "Yep, that's probably what we need to be thinking about too." Because it's we wanted to have things right in God's eyes as well. So
yeah, we do. Absolutely. Like we didn't live together before we got married.
Yeah, I was in Vegas, so that was good.
So then, like when she first moved here, we were married, so it was pretty awesome.
Steve, did you ask her mom and dad about getting married?
I sure did. I asked her mom. Her dad passed about 10 years prior to when we met.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we, I talked to her mom, and she was on board. She approved. Right. So that was the test to pass was pass with mom.
Yeah, right.
So take us through that. How did you ask her to come to meet you somewhere? Did you call her? Did you text her? Did you Facebook message her?
I was in Dallas at the time. Okay,
so you had to call her.
Yeah, she's in Vegas, and then actually were you nervous? Actually, it was a New Year's Eve kind of thing. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
It was like one of those things where I had the ring and I had it picked out as being made, and it actually was finished like New Year's Eve. And, hours before I end up getting, we end up getting engaged, and I picked up the ring, and then I got home, and then it was like, okay, we're gonna do this, and it was really intimate. It was just her and I, and we do a lot of things, just her and I, which I love, and it just kind of
like intimacy and meaning and purpose, other than like hoopla.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense. You guys have a lot of hoopla on the outside anyway, so it's nice to have your private alone time and make that really special. So, Steve, were you nervous when you called her mom?
No, not really. Just because I knew it wasn't like, I knew we were all on the same page, and it was, it was more or less like I just want to let you know what I'm doing versus asking. Because
Lisa's old-fashioned. He's being decent.
I knew mom.
We're getting married.
I knew mom wanted us to get married because she saw what we had, and I knew my wife was on board. So I just wanted to do the right thing, and then from there, it's been a what would I say honeymoon. Since.
He said that we met.
It's been 6 years. We just, like she said, celebrate our anniversary. It's been 6 years, and every day I always treat it like
he's amazing. He literally opens my car doors. He brings me flowers. He writes me notes. Makes coffee.
Good. Y'all are cute. So cute. So it doesn't matter. Valentine's is like every day for you guys.
That's right.
Yes, actually. Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. That is.
That's awesome. Okay, so you guys have separate, it looks like from what I can see, you have separate and together businesses. So I'm curious, how do you guys delegate responsibilities within the businesses? And because I know what it takes to run businesses, and my husband and I each have one, and we do stuff together, and always trying to take care of everything and keep it all going. So how do you delegate, or who does the delegations, or does it just easily fall in place with business pieces? Does one of you stay up all night? One of you work during the day? Sometimes people kind of have those opposite schedules to be able to have some focus and get stuff done. So how does running businesses together work for you guys?
Yeah, we do pretty much everything together. We do have several businesses, one of being athletes, that, like having sponsorships, and so we're our own brand ourselves. But we were with Allmax for the last 6 years, so they traveled us together, and that was amazing. So it wasn't like I was gone and she was home and vice versa. So we were able to be together a lot of that. We promote our own bodybuilding shows. We have the Kuclo Classics. We have 3. So we do that together, and then we have Booty Queen, which was started from my wife's success in the fitness industry.
We do that together, definitely. We're just doing it together now.
So that we do together, and as you may have seen, we were on Shark Tank together.
Let's talk about the Shark Tank. That's kind of interesting. And then also, did you say you have 3 Kuclo shows?
Yeah, we have one. Our original one was in Dallas, the first show, and then we expanded last year into Michigan and Wyoming. So we have two other shows that we're growing. It's exciting, because we both remember what it was like being competitors at an amateur level, and we try to put in the little things touches to make it special for the first timers and the people that are doing those shows to make it, like really memorable and enjoyable and easy. So those things are kind of what we like to warrant our shows is.
Yeah, we've taken what we do, what we've liked from the shows, and then we put it in the show. And even down to the trophies. I mean, the trophies we gave her the ones that I first got when I got one bikini. So I love giving those trophies out because I remember how good I feel.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
Yeah. So 2020, we added in the Michigan and Wyoming, but because it was so different, the restrictions there than Texas, we're going to work even harder to just make them, like we had to do Michigan outside last year, which is, we were blessed with amazing weather, but full speed ahead. I feel like the competitors are there and they want to be there and they want a goal and they want to, have that desire to, I love goal setting. So I think it's going to be a really good year, hopefully for all the shows, across the country.
So do you have the 3 shows for 2021 already scheduled on the website?
Yeah, we have Michigan will be first, May 8th, if it all goes well and there's no crazy shutdowns. May 29th is the Dallas show, which is our big show. And then later in the year, I think we're looking October for the Wyoming show. So I think we're close to locking in a date for that. So
okay,
they're kind of spread out.
Do you guys still bring in bodybuilders for guest posing?
Well, I usually guest pose because it's the Kuclo show.
Well, there you go.
By popular requests.
I have seen those. Hi-oh.
So and we do have the family that comes and helps, and so it really is like the Kuclo Classic because all the Kuclos are there helping.
That's great. And then Amanda, do you sing on stage? Do you sing like this?
That's the only thing I don't do. I did sing the national anthem at Sandy's show.
She gets so nervous.
Oh my gosh! I sang it's singing the national anthem. First of all, I sang it at the Olympia one year. It was the year I competed.
Okay.
I was way more nervous. I walked out there, bro. Imagine the Olympia stage. You're with judges. It's a pact, and it is. You can hear a pin drop, and it's me and a pitch pipe. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, for that, I think it was more, I would sing the national anthem at sporting events and all those things, but something about being on the stage that I'm like, a little bit different. Like, I don't need to hold water and whatnot. So I did one at the Sacramento, I sang again, and I was just like, okay, this is so nerve-wracking. Fortunately, it's at finals instead of like, you might put 3 pounds of water on like that. So no, I'll 𝗠𝗵𝐶, but no, we have everything.
Okay, well, we'll let you off the hook for that one. That's awesome. Okay, and let's talk about Booty Queen. You apparel, right? I went and looked at your website. It looks like you have some really nice stuff. How did that come about for you?
So that was, I literally told the story today. We just got married, and companies were reaching out and saying, will you wear this, wear that, wear this or that, and I was like, I don't really know. Our people like it with integrity. We don't like to do a bunch of different things unless we're really doing those things. That's why we really just promote like 𝗠𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Booty Queen, and he just going with a new company, but. We're not going to, like, I'm not the girl that's going to have, like, drinking the tea with the whitener, with the trainer, like, unless you're doing that, then that's one thing. But, so I really wasn't wearing a certain brand. So I said, hey, look at these companies reaching out. Why don't we just try to make our own stuff? Because basically, it's Booty Queen's a brand, a fan-based. It's really women, thank God, that choose to support us and our company over, say, someone else. And for that, it's very, very grateful. So with that, it's been amazing. But because of that, it's been at times, very hard for me because I won't let a product go out that's bad. And there's stuff that's manufacturing apparel. There's just things that are out of your control. And I'm not the person to be like, let's go and sell it anyway. It's like, pull it all off, and we're not doing that. So right now in the fulfillment, I mean, it's literally, we just came from all day there. I hand sign every note. We, fold it and put in the box, put a little sticker on. It's us doing it. So it's a lot of work, but I actually talked to someone today and now I said, she goes, would you take it back? And I go, actually, no, which is odd because for probably about 5 years, I was like, this is the hardest thing ever in the world, ever. Honestly, I thought several times I was having a nervous breakdown, but I realized that through that, it allowed me it was a crash course in business. I mean, right. Went from non-confrontational to I can walk into a room and feel like I could run it with any CEO that's in there. You know what I mean? So with that, the learning lesson is completely invaluable.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the stress that was going through it was, man, that's when he had to pull me off the deep end. I mean, literally, what in the F? I mean, how can this many things happen in apparel?
Right. So, I mean, like, you learn from mistakes. We really had no formal education in business other than just knowing how to work hard, applying ourselves some common sense. And then we worked hard. And
Shark Tank was new. Shark Tank was literally like 6 months into the business. I was a huge fan. I actually just wrote an email like, we literally need help. So, I knew they're still going to probably want TV. So I, threw in some covers and pimped us out. But legitimately, we had really good numbers and we had no help and we had no idea where to go next and how to grow. So we were doing small runs. We were selling out of stuff and then we'd be out of everything. So when we went on, there was legitimate when I was like, kind of need an employee. You know what I mean? I was like serious about that. I'm like, come on, guys, we need this, we need that. When we were actually in the Shark Tank for about 45 minutes, they air 8. And it made it look like I was the one talking, but I mean, they loved us, actually. They talked about his calves and
it was real professional. I think if you go in as a Shark Tank contestant, we'll call it, with a fair shake, if you're not going in there saying, I'll give you 2% of my company, they'll immediately destroy you. But for us, we went in, we knew, okay, we're going to do a fair shake. Like we offered 20%. And, they looked at us, they kind of were, kind of like fans in a way. They were like, wow, we never seen such really good people on the show. And so it was cool. But not only was it nerve-wracking, but it was fun and we got to.
But it was so new into the business that when we didn't have enough time. I mean, we went from literally doing this in our house and upstairs with a fan base that's understanding, to a mainstream audience that wants you to be Amazon Prime and they think that you're partnered with a shark and you're still running business like this. And I'm like, actually, it's still the same people doing this. I think that created, it was literally us at the dining room table. We're like, how in the world? So that's what it was. I think what was the hardest part is because fans they're forgiving. Legging doesn't get there for 2 weeks. It's a legging. Like, some people, it's the end of the world. Those leggings aren't there in like Amazon Prime. So I'm like, okay, we learn.
Well, I did a very small run with clothing, probably in 2005. No, it's probably 06, 07, 08, somewhere in there. You know Anna Tigre?
Yeah, of course.
So Anna and I were, she was a client and then we became friends, and she always had this clothing line that she's been working on for a long time. Yeah. So she made a line for my fem camps. It was called Femwear. And I remember it was so much work just trying to, get it to all the locations and have it available to sell and, packing and I totally understand what you're talking about. And I was like, okay, it was really fun and the girls loved it. And of course with Anna, we had beautiful clothing, but it was just so much work at it was just this whole separate thing. And I wasn't really ready to tackle as much work as it ended up to be. So I have a very big appreciation for how much effort that goes into. And it's neat to hear that Steve helps you with sending that out and getting that all together. That's cute. You guys are so cute. So, okay, I want to go into my rapid fire questions. I have questions for both of you.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. Okay.
Yeah. Drum roll.
Y'all ready?
Drum roll.
Okay, this is just fun stuff. Just fun, okay? And I'm not super fast, so I'll count that. Hopefully you guys, can help me along with this because sometimes I talk more. But okay, so the first question I have is for you, Amanda. What is your favorite memory of your first date? Now that I've heard about that, what was your favorite memory?
Oh my gosh, making out with him for hours. That was our first date. Thank God we used to kiss her. That matters.
Of course. Okay, Steve, favorite memory of your wedding day?
Wow. I think it was right after we got married, it was pretty cool because we did a shot of tequila with an orange with cinnamon on it. And we had that same shot on our first date. So it was cool to have everybody there do a shot together. And it was probably
that was going to be my first date memory too, was the orange and tequila shot.
Yeah. So if you haven't had it, it's tequila and you chase it with an orange with cinnamon.
I made him drink because I was like, people in the fitness industry judge me, even if you have like a glass of wine. So I was like, okay, I need to see if you can have like a normal life and have some balance.
Anybody that knows the Kuclo family knows we can handle our own.
Okay, that is awesome. I love it. Steve, who's a better driver?
Me.
Amanda, who is more of a backseat or side seat driver? You or Steve?
Are you kidding me?
All right, Steve, Amanda, describe Steve in 3 words.
Best man ever.
Best man ever. Oh, that was good and fast.
That's the way I
That's fast. I like that.
I love it. Okay, Steve, same question. Describe Amanda in 3 words.
Beautiful, sincere, and fun.
Ooh, I like that.
That's awesome. Okay, Steve, who steals the covers? I like the little finger point.
Oh, I thought you meant the magazine covers. Oh, I guess I still do.
Amanda, who typically makes the bed, and is it a make the bed, like completely put it together with pillows and everything, or is it a tidy it up type of thing? So do you perceive it?
It's make the bed, and those corners are tucked, and it's pillows are tucked, and if there's a wrinkle in it,
it's pristine.
I'm very picky about the bed making usually, and it's just funny because I'll make the bed sometimes and my husband will sit on it to maybe put his socks on or something, and then he gets up and it's wrinkled and I'm like, oh, it's not fixed again. Like,
I just said the same thing. He'll come in and I'll make the bed and he just walks in and he'll get on his phone, and as soon as he's up, I'm like, that's 300 pounds, you just ruffle it up.
See, I think it's a nesting thing in the women. That's what I think. Okay, Amanda, name one thing Steve does to make you feel protected and safe.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Carry the gun. I mean, that's good. Or about 10 of them. I mean, that's excited.
How about at least 3 guns, the 2 arms, and then the
pistol?
Okay. I'll go with that. Steve, what is one thing Amanda does to increase your faith and strengthen your walk with the Lord?
She encourages us to study on a daily basis, and I think we do it together. So it not only does she allow me to try to be the head of the house, but she also encourages me to do that too.
Yeah. Okay, that's really special. See, again, why did I have you guys on the show? Okay, Steve, what was the first attribute of Amanda you remember when you met?
I think it was her enthusiasm, and it felt real. A lot of people felt like you put on like a little facade, or it's kind of like and it changes. Like what I met her day one is how she is today.
That's actually true. When he met me, I was 35, and I was like, "What you see is what you get." So.
I love it. So it wasn't like her glutes. I'm sure that was something, but
she had all the assets. But
okay, Amanda, same question. What was the first attribute of Steve you remember? I mean, I know you talked about the red pants or something he had on.
I'd say smile then, because I remember seeing his face, and I was like, he is so handsome.
Oh. You guys are certainly very, very handsome and beautiful together, so I'll say that. Okay, Amanda, name, let me see if I can read my writing. Okay, name one action Steve does to make you feel loved.
Oh my Lord, what one? Okay, well,
just one because it's rapid fire, right?
Wait, okay, every day he wakes me up every single morning with hugs and kisses. Aww. Every morning. What do you know?
That's sweet. Okay, I might start getting sappy. Steve, name one thing Amanda does to make you feel respected.
Yeah. One thing. I think always. I like words of affirmation, so she always is very thankful for things I do. No, out of that, I feel very respected.
I love it. Okay, Steve, best glute exercise for a woman.
Me. Okay. I'm gonna go what I usually hear my wife saying is her favorite, and that is a lunge. She loves the lunge, and that's what she feels like that's her booty building. So.
Okay. All right, Amanda. Here's a big question for you. If men had to either train chest, biceps, or quads, which would you suggest they train? And that's the only one that, like, they can't train all of them. It has to be one of those.
Chest, biceps,
and
quads. I would suggest that they train chest. Because like you won't be involved. You know?
I mean, you can always cover up with those board shorts, right?
Well, I was just thinking, if you're lifting bench, your biceps
I thought you were going to say legs, because I know she's kind of a meathead at heart.
Oh, no. I was actually thinking, like, practically, because I was thinking chest, you can have your upper body involved. Your shoulders.
There you go.
I was way reading into it.
You went
okay, then legs, quads.
Oh, it's good. Okay, we have two questions left. So, Amanda, does Steve spend more free time on sports or social media?
Cars. Let's say social media.
Social media is instead of sports?
He's not. No, he doesn't watch. Really, you're not sports. We'll watch a football game together, a hockey game together. But he's on like 12 like race chats, like cars.
Like car racing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you and my husband get along all day long. He loves that.
Then you get it. He's on the floor.
I'm like, they're just turning left. How can that be so exciting?
Right.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Steve, do you ever find yourself waiting for Amanda to leave the house? If so, what is the average time you patiently wait?
Well, I know I use patiently wait maybe 15 minutes, because I know within that time that I'm waiting, I could usually wash the car, take a shower, and clean up. So I get a lot done when I'm usually waiting maybe another 15 minutes. So.
Yeah. I love the patiently waiting. You can wash a car.
I was like an hour, but
That's cute. Okay, last big question, and then then you kind of touched on something that I want to go into next, so I'm excited. All right, so Steve, who keeps the two of you on track nutritionally?
I think I do. She doesn't eat bad, but I usually cook more of the dinners, so I guess it would be the ball falls in my court.
Okay. And Amanda, I think you might have led into this earlier. Who leads the two of you to indulge if there was indulging to happen?
I think you might lead that. Yeah.
It's pretty even.
It's pretty even.
Yeah, every once in a while
if I was a competitor,
let's go get
I would have been starved. But since I'm not, my cravings are like, I'll have something after, normally with dinner. He wants something sweet after, but he could have a bite of a cookie to where like the competitor Amanda wanted like 7 boxes. So now I'm just like, I have a dessert, and we usually actually get a dessert and split it, which is really good.
Yeah.
So you guys are more into, if you're going to have something to indulge, it would be sweets rather than like carb and fat, maybe sweets versus pizza, or?
No, definitely more salt and fat for us over sweet. Yeah.
Y'all like sushi? Sushi rolls?
Yep.
Girl.
Yes.
I know. I can eat a lot of sushi. Just me alone. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
You're going to come here and we're going to take you to this place. It's the best place ever.
Okay, well, that would be fun. My husband and I might have to drive up and do that. We come up, he goes up to Oklahoma a lot and sometimes Dallas, so we'll let you know if we can get up that way. It'd be fun to see you guys in person. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time left, and I heard you say words, so I'm assuming you guys are familiar with the 5 basic love languages.
Of course.
Aw, okay, well, there's a lot of people that aren't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, I've talked to, I don't know how many that aren't. So I'm always like recommending people read that because it was so impactful to me when I read it. I think I started reading it back in probably 2008 or 9. And I've just used it ever since with so many people and sharing. And it's such an eye opener. So since you guys are familiar with that, and we are talking about love for Valentine's coming up. And of course, God is the creator of love, right? And I know we're not supposed to just show love on Valentine's Day, but it's just fun to talk about anyways. So since you guys have heard about it, Amanda, do you know what Steve's love languages are? Out of the 5, can you?
Mine would be all of them. He's definitely words of affirmation, definitely physical touch. Definitely, he gives me acts of service. Mm-hmm. So gifts, he's not a gift.
Okay, so we've got words of affirmation, which I always like to just call it words, right? Because I mean, things of positive. Like, I don't think words of affirmation mean that someone always has to be hearing how great they are. It's really just about lifting you up with your words, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just kind words, and sometimes it's the tone that they come across in, right? The sincerity, and he already said he loved the sincerity of you, right? So I think I think y'all are onto this word thing with him. Quality time. Doing anything together, right? And I'm just, for those of the people that are going to be tuning in and maybe listening now, I'm going to list the 5, and then we'll go back and you can itemize them a little bit cleaner. So physical touch does not have to do with necessarily intimacy in the marital bed, but it just means holding hands, being next to each other, cuddling, and all the things, right? Rubbing, touching your hair, whatever the case. So words, affirming words, caring words, words that build people up, acts of services, and quality time spent, and of course receiving gifts of any type. I always say between a napkin that was rolled up into a flower, all the way to some massive Rolex watch or car or something that's really extravagant. So I think when people love getting gifts, it could be any type of gift. It just has to be something that's oh wow, you thought about me and you brought me some. Doesn't have to be a big purchase. So I just wanted to kind of clarify those. So you think Steve's number 1 gift is words?
Say and equal. I mean, really, really close with that physical touch. I think that would be the top both. Yeah. Because we both give that, I think we both needed that, and I think that's what we both do the most and appreciate to each other the most.
Okay. So words of affirmation, and then you said physical touch, and then where does quality time fit in for Steve, Amanda? That's your question.
It's my question?
Your question is where does quality time fit in for Steve, do you think?
I'm an answer. Well, that's hard to say where that fits in, because we're always together. So I think that's it's always there, as opposed to like it's up or here. I think it's just quality time. I think the time that we spend together usually turns out to be quality. I think sometimes that when we could be driving, and if I put my head on his shoulder, he says, "Thank you so much for doing that." So I think that's even quality time. I think
absolutely. It's quality time and physical touch, and then silent words, all wrapped up in one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it could be even an act of service, because you're providing a service of love, caring. And then we can even say that's a gift. That touch is a gift. Okay, I'm just kind of throwing those all together. But
I love that.
Yeah. So
Together.
Steve, what about you? How do you? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. What are Amanda's love languages out of those 5? What are her top 1 to 5? How would you rate those for her?
I would say it's probably touch, words, time. I think gifts would be on the bottom
Gifts
of that.
last for me.
We're both not like big gift people. Acts of service is up to she doesn't ask me to do things, but I kind of, if I do something, she appreciates it, so I get words with it. So we both really feed each other's love language like a lot.
Yeah, I feel like you always give me
and I think the biggest thing, the 2 key words I could say over everything is respect and honor. And I think when you have honor, you can have love. And we really respect each other. There's never any really sarcastic or negative things said. I think a lot of that comes with maturity. Exactly. But I think if you honor each other, you're going to have a great relationship.
Yeah, there's none of that like joking, sarcastic. Oh, you look fat today. Why'd you do that? You look. It's not very. Respect is probably huge, like number 1 to me, and very respect and honesty. So I just always am very respectful, and we're both very similar. And I think it's because of when we met. Like I said, I was 35. We had past relationships. And I think we were both honestly starving in our past relationships. Mm-hmm. So when we came together, not only did we appreciate it that much more, but it was like 2 people that are like, you do the same as me. And, I don't have to only hug you when I'm away from you. And you mean I can actually hold your hand the whole time? And you know what I mean? And I can tell you I love you all the time, and you won't think I'm weird, or it won't be too much, or it's like, it just, that's why it fits so well. It's because it's so similar. He's, like I said, he's always opening my door. He's always carrying my gym bag. And because I'm so not used to that, I'm so appreciative and so grateful made the coffee husband. Let me do it for you. Let me rub your back. Let me do this. And he takes the trash out. I appreciate that so much. So it's just a very, like you said, respect, I feel, is like kind of on that, the cusp.
There you go.
What-
There you go.
Have you guys heard that God says, or in the Bible, the scriptures that say that husbands are to love their wives as Jesus loved the church, right? And it says that the wives are to respect their husbands. And I think when people that are married can understand those, hear those, and understand them, and provide that particular thing for each other, because God created women to receive love and men need respect. Now, of course, I think, and that's why the questions earlier, I asked those questions, because I think you guys demonstrate those for one another so well, and it's inspiring. And I want people to see that. I want people to hear your voices and to hear what that looks, and to see what that actually looks like. And I know when women, wives, I'll say, aren't being shown love, and husbands are not being shown respect, it makes the relationship go backwards, and a backwards circle that is unstoppable until someone realizes it. One of the couples, the husband or wife realizes it and says, okay, I got to stop this crazy backward spin of no respect and no love, because it doesn't ever end, right? It just goes on and on. So I love the fact that you guys know that about one another, the love languages. I was curious. I was writing it down. I was like, I wonder if they know about the 5 basic love languages. So did you guys read that book together?
No, I think we just kind of
knew. I think I was saying maybe 2008. I think my mom gave me that book. And then I was just like, well, and I don't think I was really truly in love until I met Steven. And so that's why it didn't make sense. You know what I mean? I'm like, why am I going to give someone a gift as, asshole? Why am I going to, do something for him and take it? You know what I mean? It's like, I think when we're married, it was just like, so that's why just me personally, I cringe when people say marriage is a piece of paper. It's so not. And again, that depends on where your heart is, but it's really to become one. I mean, that was one of the things that we did at our wedding. We lit 2 candles. Our pastor says it's 2 deaths and 1 resurrection. That's why I'm not Amanda Latona. I'm Amanda Kuclo. She died. She's Amanda Kuclo's here. But it's almost like when I hear Latona, I'm like, ah. And people aren't doing that on purpose, but it's just like that's not me. It's so interesting. But when we got married, it was like this thing that it was just like, boom, it happened. And it was so cool, because it was just like, we've never even went from like boyfriend, girlfriend. We literally called each other husband and wife, and still he's Hubs. Everyone knows him as Hubs. Friends call him Hubs. He's like, he's Hubs. Like, hey, Hubs, come on over here. And he's like, wife, Hubs, wife. So that's kind of what we always call each other. But it's we're so grateful to be able to. It's God. I mean, it's 100%. I said, you can't force some relationship on someone else. It has to be. I'm huge on that. Women trying to not force relationship when they see red flags out of fear of being single. You have women's intuition and red flags for a reason, and you can have a free will to ignore them. And it was at the point, like I said, I prayed about having a husband, and I didn't want to date one more person. And here God puts him in my life, and that gratitude that I have it's literally, and I think that too, if you could just be grateful for the marriage you have, it's something I'm constantly saying. We're grateful, and we're constantly speaking that over each other. He's always said, honeymoon forever, honeymoon forever. He tells me you get more beautiful every day. Every day I look at you, get more beautiful. He's never been like, you're this or that, when women are hard on each other. And I think when I see that in other relationships, that hurts me so much, because I seeing someone disrespect their significant other, it's so rough to me. You know what I mean? And that's supposed to be the person that you rely on, that you cleave to. You leave the parents and you cleave to your husband and wife. And so that's why marriage is a big deal. It's not a piece of paper. So that's why I think that when you do make that commitment, there is a change. It's a physical change.
Absolutely. And Steve, when did you read that book? How long ago did you read that book?
I don't know if I read it, but looked into it. One of those things. I was like, what are the love languages? Kind of Google it. But I knew that there was things. I think as I matured and through relationships, kind of knew more about myself, and then I knew kind of what I wanted, and then what I would want in somebody else. And that person, I like giving, like, just for instance, like, gifts is her last thing. And I don't think I can be with a person that would just want gifts, you know, because I would be like, that's, to me, real, like, just kind of shallow, materialistic kind of thing. And so the love languages matching, I think, really is what makes our relationship probably just, top notch.
Well, so what I want to say is I've read the book and I've shared it a lot. And what I understand from the book, and I just want to compliment you guys on this, because he was a family counselor, I guess, therapist, Christian counselor that wrote it. He says that it's our duty to find out what our spouse's love language is. And I would even say, because it was written more or less for couples, but I also feel like it's written in a way for us to understand our parents, or if kids were involved, or, good friends or something like that, where we could understand how, because we want to share love. And I want to just say that it, even if you guys didn't read that specific part where he says it's our responsibility to find our spouse's love language and then to do those things on a day-to-day basis to show love in the way that our spouse can feel, right? And I think that you guys are doing that, and I just compliment you guys on that. And thank you so much for being open and sharing, that part of your relationship, because, there's so much more we could be talking about, how to train biceps and chest and get ready for shows and all that. But I really feel like this is such an important piece that we needed to talk about. And I was just really excited to hear about that with you guys. I wanted to ask you too. So one of the things I've done, I went through a really horrible divorce. I'm not going to talk about all that. But when I was going through that, I really dove in, like you said, Amanda, earlier. You walk through trials. It's really up to that person walking through the trial to figure out what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Not to wallow in self-pity or devastation, but to warrior up, figure out what you're supposed to learn from it. And as a wife back then, I really wanted to figure out I didn't maybe even know, like, what is a wife supposed to be? Right. Like, how did God create a wife? And so I'll just say, over this last decade, for me personally, I've really done a lot of studies on that. And I feel like God's opened up some really cool conversations with a lot of wives for me to express some very positive reinforcement of how God has made a wife. Wow. And one of the things that I said this recently to a woman that was, walking through some marital things. And I said, do you realize there's one purpose? Do you realize what the main purpose God made a woman for? And she kind of, what?
To be a helpmate?
Yes. And when we really dive into what does that mean, I went into kind of like a little word study for myself, and I said, okay, what does that mean? That's the only purpose God said. He said, it's not good for man to be alone. Let me make him a helper. Yeah. Well, a helper in the old Greek words, or the old language, Hebrew maybe, was an advocate. It means an advocate for. Well, what is an advocate? Is, we're there to advocate, and benefit that person or that, whatever that is. So I was so it kind of like, I've known that this was what it was, but I never really, until just recently, really took to heart how God made a woman for helping a man. Mm-hmm. And I love to see that that's what you're doing with your husband. And I'm sure this is why you guys are flourishing, is because of your role and and I'll use the word submission.
I was just going to say submissive. That was one of my vows to him. I said I vowed to be a submissive wife. In this era, is that we're in a woman power, and that's one thing. It's one thing to be a strong woman. It's another thing to be a submissive wife. Yes. That's just the way that it is. It doesn't mean that he dragged me around the house and like by my hair, like a cave woman. I mean, it's just the bottom line is that's my husband, and he's the husband. I almost think that's even funny how God had me kind of getting away from the competing career. It's not like I stopped it for him. I just stopped it, but I would have for him. I mean, like it's when you have real true love that person's actually cares are over your own. It's like, I want his happiness. I want him to do good. I'd rather be, so, and he's so generous that he'd almost have a hard time even asking for help. I'd be like, "Hub, do you have to help? Let me tell. What do I do?"
Well, and that's okay if he doesn't, because as my understanding is that it's your relationship with the Lord, and the Lord will provide what your husband needs from you, and you an understanding of that as you are close to the Lord. So he doesn't have to necessarily ask you. And I know that you're drawn close to the Lord. So I want to encourage you that you and God can have these conversations, and God will direct your path, because that's the desire of your heart, right? And I'm so excited for you guys, because you guys, I know there's two other things I want to just mention, and then I'm going to have to let this wrap up after I let you guys have the last things to say. But there's a verse in Proverbs 18:22, and it says, "A man that finds a wife finds what is good and favor with the Lord." So there you go. You found yourself a wife. You got right in. It's marrying this woman, and you guys have such a beautiful relationship. I want to encourage you on this. And I know that God is honoring you guys, and he's really doing some really big things in your lives. And I am just excited for you and where this is going to go, and how many people you guys will bless together as you continue to do what you're doing. And I want y'all to know that, and to just know that I'm applauding who you are individually and as a couple, and we need more of that out. So that's why I wanted to highlight this. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
So 2 questions left. Number 1, what are you guys doing for Valentine's?
Because we had our anniversary, so we're kind of combined the two, but we have Valentine's every day.
Literally,
but we will. I'll do something cheesy,
Yeah, I know. But I'll be like, please don't get me anything, and please don't celebrate Valentine's Day every day. Like,
I usually get you like some kind of Reese's Valentine's.
Yeah, some Reese's. Give me some Reese's.
Okay. Great. Hey, it's fun. It's fun. You can draw a card or something in your own handwriting. All right. And then anything else you guys would like to say, or to talk about any of the business pieces that we haven't talked about? Maybe share your websites, and you can say your social media handles too, and then anything else you want to say before we close.
Okay. Well, I think we just talked about everything. I don't want to talk too much. Hey, look at us. I hope that, girl, I want to thank you for having us on here. Your mission is right in line. I'm with you in the way that the world, the Bible always says that, or the world changes, but the word of God stays the same, so
yes.
Society is trying to make relationships like it's everything as virtual, and be alone, and you don't need anyone, and you be by yourself. I just think that's, I still think that their relationships and values, integrity, being a person of your word, are really things that I'm hoping and praying that you reach, and this reaches people. That's what I do. God's already told me that's why he's given me a platform. He gave me a following. It's his following. So I use that to just encourage women. And I'm so grateful for everything we have. So I'm sadly at Latona still, like I said, but I'm a mannequin plug.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, girl. There's, it's all good. I mean, people need to be able to find you still. And once they start, listening to what you've got to say and seeing, they're going to see where you're at. Hey, I'm still Monica Brandt. And
yeah, see, because that's how I know you.
It's, it's just a lot of effort to change everything over. But I'm 100% committed to my husband, and I'm so appreciative of him too. So I get it.
Kuclo Classics, our shows. Booty Queen and Tarot's our website. But
awesome. And we're going to be looking to see if you get on the Arnold stage this year, and what goes on with that. We'll be following you guys. Really, it's been such a wonderful interview. Thank you guys for allowing me to kind of take this a little different route than the typical bodybuilding.
How many grams of protein? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something.
I know. You can find all of that online if you want. You guys have some other videos about that too. So. So that can be your next tomorrow post.
That's right.
Awesome. So wonderful. You guys have a really blessed Valentine's actual day. And thank you so much for joining tonight. And you guys stay fit, love life. And know you guys are doing that. And God bless you guys and your family. And I have a hard time saying goodbye, so I'm going to let Kona take you guys off.
Thank you again so much.
We will see you soon.
Yes, we'll see you soon.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you again, Monica, and all your fans that are on here, and We appreciate you having us on, and
we wish you and your husband lifetime
Yeah.
one honeymoon forever.
Yes, thank you. We'll have to come up and see you guys in Dallas.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. See y'all soon. All right, so there we go, guys. Some wise counsel and fun inspiration from the Kuclos. You guys check them out on their social media handles and their websites. Go see their show. Support them. We've got to support good people. We thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Tonight's show was brought to you by Sear MD, Cosmetic Surgery, Skincare, and Nutrition, as well as Aloe, Egg White International, and Legendary Foods. Ooh, tasty pastries. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, with more superstars of the IFBB, legendary athletes, and powerhouse individuals that I get to talk to here on the Monica Branch shows. Thank you so much, Kona, for producing the show, and we'll see y'all next week.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.